Hello and welcome to this Saturday, August 11th, 2019 episode of the Law of Success Mastermind. It's actually August 12th because I'm a couple hours late, but I'm still going to do it anyway because it's very important that this is done daily. I apologize if you were waiting for me at 9 p.m. I was helping my mom move, so that was the most important thing to me. Now, we are on Create Personal Initiative, Chapter 6. And in the future, I will do my best to post if I am not going to be on time like this, just so that my listeners understand where I'm at. The major Create Personal Initiative. The major attributes of personal initiative. Personal initiative is contagious. Personal initiative succeeds where others fail. Personal initiative creates work. Personal initiative creates opportunity. Personal initiative creates the future. Personal initiative creates advancement. Putting personal initiative to work. That's what we're going to cover. We are on Keys to Success, Create Personal Initiative. Part 1 of 2. One of the biggest benefits from going the extra mile is the emphasis it requires you to place on personal initiative. This chapter will round out your understanding of personal initiative, and through example, it will show you how to multiply that quality in yourself. Andrew Carnegie once told me, there are two types of people who never amount to anything. There are those who never do anything except what they are told to do, and there are those who cannot even do what they are told to do. The people who get ahead do the things that should be done without being told. And they don't stop there. They go the extra mile and do much more than is expected of them. Personal initiative is absolutely necessary if you are going to realize your goal. It will bring you advancement, attention, and opportunity. Sorry, cats are going crazy if you just heard them. They're fighting with each other. The major attributes of personal initiative. In the years I spent formulating these principles of success, I observed many extraordinary people. What follows is a list of qualities that constantly appeared in my observations. Some of them will be things that have already been covered in this book. Others come later. The important thing for you to do here is to identify these characteristics in yourself as you are now and to think about how you can increase and strengthen them. The adoption of a definite major purpose. The motivation to act continuously in pursuit of that purpose. A mastermind alliance to acquire the power to attain that purpose. Self-reliance. Self-discipline. Persistence. Based upon the will to win. Well-developed imagination, controlled and directed. The habit of prompt, definite decision-making. The habit of basing opinions on known facts, not guesswork. The habit of going the extra mile. The capacity to generate enthusiasm at will and control. A well-developed sense of details. The capacity to listen to criticism without resentment. Familiarity with the 10 basic human motives. The capacity to concentrate attention on one task at a time. Assuming full responsibility for one's own actions. Willingness to accept full responsibility for the mistakes of subordinates. Patience with subordinates and associates. Recognizing the merits and abilities of others. A positive mental attitude at all times. The capacity for applied faith. The habit of following through. The habit of emphasizing thoroughness instead of speed. Dependability. No doubt, many of these qualities are already familiar to you. You may think, I've already got that. but it is the nature of the 17 principles of success that each depends upon the others. And you can't develop one without relying upon and developing others at the same time. How can you develop faith without applying it through personal initiative? And how can you have personal initiative without a definite purpose to carry out? You can't. Personal initiative is contagious. During the Second World War, Henry Kaiser, I'm not sure, astounded the world by the speed and efficiency of his shipbuilding. What made his achievement so remarkable is that he hadn't been a shipbuilder before he responded to the needs of the war. The quality that made this possible was his personal initiative. And the most obvious manifestation of this quality was his habit of following through. When Kaiser ordered a trainload of steel to be delivered at his shipyards on a given date, he made sure that the railroad was alerted, that his own workers were prepared to accept the shipment, and first of all, that the steel was being produced on schedule. He sent an expediter to the steel mill to keep him informed of progress and then to travel with the shipment to see that it wasn't sidetracked or delayed. Because Kaiser was so attentive to the details of his operation, everyone who worked for him knew that the same quality was expected of themselves. If something went wrong along the way, the expediter was expected to do whatever was necessary to correct the problem and make up for lost time, and he seldom failed. Kaiser's persistent personal initiative was an example to thousands of people on a daily basis. Personal initiative succeeds where others fail. Not long after I married, I paid my first visit to my wife's family. The train took me close to her hometown, but stopped 2 miles away. Since I arrived in a downpour, by the time I reached my in-laws' house, I was not an impressive sight. I was also in something of a bad temper, and I exclaimed, "Why don't you have the railroad build a line into town?" My brothers-in-law laughed and told me that they had been trying for 10 years, but that the railroad was unwilling to take on the expense of building a bridge across the local river. 10 years, I said arrogantly. Why, I could do that job in 3 months. Well, I had really put my foot in it, for a boast like that in front of my new family was a challenge to them. I knew I had to act. My brothers-in-law and I waited for the rain to stop, then headed down to the river. There we saw a creaky old wooden bridge, across which ran the county road. A freight railroad terminated at the far side of the river, its tracks crossing the road. As the freight trains came and went, they halted traffic on the road, slowing travel for all the local people. And there was my idea. Look, I said, it's simple. The passenger railroad pays for a third of the cost of a bridge so that it can offer better service to the town. The county pays for a third of the bridge because it will need to replace that wooden one soon anyway. And the freight railroad pays the final third so it gets the traffic off its tracks and prevents the inevitable accident from having all those people lined up waiting to cross. It was that simple. In a week, my brothers-in-law and I had all 3 parties agreed to the plan, and in 3 months the new bridge was up and the town had a passenger rail service. Now, I hope that your personal initiative won't have to get you out of that kind of trap I set for myself. But if you apply it at every opportunity, especially after you have made a foolish mistake, then it will benefit both you and your community. Personal initiative creates work. I once knew a rather plain fellow who didn't seem suited for much. He had been apprenticed to a plumber, but because he had showed no real aptitude for plumbing, his boss tried him out as a sales rep. He didn't show an aptitude there either. Since his handwriting was neat, the boss made him a bookkeeper next. Again, the results were discouraging, but the bookkeeping experience taught him something: the importance of accurate inventory. So he sat down to take an inventory of himself. He decided he had these positive qualities: the habit of saving money, The ability to figure out accurately the cost of a plumbing job. The ability to recognize superior skills in others that he lacked himself. Persistence. The ability to induce others to work in harmony. What could he do with these skills? The answer was obvious. He set out to open his own plumbing business. He found a location, sought out the best workers he could find, and began to pursue contracts. Within a year, his schedule was filled, and because he was able to bring his work in at the projected costs and do it with a quality labor, he quickly gained a reputation as the best plumber for the job, even though he was a poor plumber himself. It was only by acting on personal initiative that this man was able to make anything of his life. Starting with a definite major purpose, step by step he built a mastermind alliance of skilled employees, delivered extra service, and attained success. If he hadn't struck out on his own, his former boss would have soon thrown up his hands and fired him. This fellow created a job for himself. All right, well, that was another episode of the Law of Success Mastermind, and we will wrap up this chapter tomorrow. This was Create Personal Initiative. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. If you want to check out what we're working on, go on over to happyherostudio.com. Have a great day.